Here.
Here.
Thank you. Senator Nicholas Perez. There we are. Thank you. Senator Griffin McGinsky. At this point, I don't know why I'm asking. Let's go to our. If we're streaming over there. It'll start streaming at some point. Welcome everyone to our second Senate meeting. Okay, welcome everyone to our second Senate meeting. I am happy to see you all here again. Let's go over the agenda. First, land acknowledgement statement. We would like to recognize that Western Michigan University is located on land historically occupied by Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi nations. Please take a moment to acknowledge and honor this ancestral land of the Three Fires Confederacy and the sacred land of all Indigenous peoples with their continued presence. That has been a moment of silence. Welcome. See positional reports in the minutes. That always is the case. Right. No notes from me really right now. Secretary of the Senate position still needs to get filled. I can't keep them apparently. They just all don't want to stay. This is actually, I mean, I talked it over with Allison. You can kind of put anyone in this position and then they become a senator. Allison said that was okay. So if there is a non-Senate member who is here, please consider
What kind of number? I didn't hear you.
a non-Senate, any Senate or non-Senate member. Oh, okay. It's been a day. Okay, and then welcome Senator Nicholas Perez, representing the multicultural Greek Council. Everyone say hi. Our ranks have gone up by a few and then gone down again because we lost. We also, Senator Anna Griggs has resigned, so do not try and email her about Senate stuff. Huh?
I was.
Were you?
No.
Okay, that's good. Don't do that. We should be doing that. All right, approval of the minutes. I would now take a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
You have to make a motion. I can't motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any opposition? Hearing none, seeing none, minutes are approved. Approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any opposition? Awesome. No guest speakers today, but we do have unfinished business, the emergency Senate appointment bill. We will now be discussing and voting on it. I hope you all have had a moment to look it over. Do we have any questions? No, do we have discussion points? Beautiful. I'll now take voting. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think that was 3. I should have just asked you to raise your hands. Anyone not in favor, raise your hands. People who are at home, raise your hands. And then people here, raise your hands if you are in favor. Only Senate can vote, sorry. Okay, I thought you were, okay, yeah. 2. Any opposed? There's not that many senators, that's why that's not a lot of people voting. Isn't that funny? I'm not seeing any opposed, so it passes with a 2-0, 1 abstention. Thank you all. All right, with that, we're going to move into the middle of meritorious service bill presented by Vice President Effinger. Did you really think you? If you like, you can come up and talk at the podium.
I would love to speak at the podium.
It's dark because I have like dark mode on it.
I love that. All right, so Medal of Meritorious Service is a bill that was kind of my brainchild over the summer. And WSA does a decent job at recognizing members of our own body as, you know, representative of the month, senator of the month. But there are a lot of individuals at our university that help make WSA a success and who fight for the student body and the students beyond WSA. And it's important that we recognize them and their accomplishments. So this bill is to recognize individuals through a process of a nomination. There will be no more than, I believe, 5 recipients per semester, and it's for their meritorious service to the student body, how they helped the students advance in some way. So anyone would be able to nominate any individual, whether they be students, faculty, staff, administration, alum. It doesn't matter. The only criteria is the person nominated can't be on the committee who's selecting the winners. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
You want to break down that whole section?
Oh, sure. So that kind of goes through the process of how we will be deciding who actually receives the award. Nomination form opens first day of the semester and closes in no more than 6 weeks. And then there's 2 rounds of committee to vet the nominations. The first round will consist of 1 member from the staff partners, from each group of staff partners. There will be an administrator, a staff member, a faculty member, chaired by the Chief Justice from WSA. And then they will narrow it down to no more than 15 and no fewer than 6 individuals to receive the second committee, unless, of course, fewer than 6 people are nominated. Then it goes to second committee, and it's composed of 1 senator, 1 rep, 1 associate justice, 1 member of president's cabinet, and chaired by the WSA Chief Justice again. They're the ones that decide who actually receives the award. And they can also say anyone that progressed to that stage is also unworthy. So that way it's not like, wow, only 2 people were nominated and they have to receive the award this semester. So they can nullify anyone at that stage. So this way it ensures that the last round is the students, because we are the ones that are giving out the award from WSA. And then we'll have like a small little ceremony to recognize them. And it also authorizes the president and the executive vice president to purchase the medals to hand out at the ceremony. Thank you. Are there any questions? All right.
All right, with no questions, we'll enter into discussion. Does anyone have a discussion point they'd like to make?
I think this is a really great idea to recognize the people who help us out outside of our organization. There's a lot of work outside that happens to make us run. So I think it's a great idea and a great way to recognize all the people that help us.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I guess I could say there's a lot of people in chat. Just raise your hand if you have or people that online, raise your hand if you have a discussion point. Anyone else? Seeing none, hearing none, we will move into a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. That's the entire house, so I assume all are not in favor. So then it passed by 3-0-0. Thank you. I don't have a gavel, but I'm going to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, next, no committee breakouts yet. Of course, there aren't enough of us to fill the committees. So new business, LSA collaboration request. Vice President Effinger and his guest, please rise.
Wow, I feel like I was just over here. So WSA has a collaborations process, which LSA, the Latino Student Association, has gone through. The collaboration request is similar to an allocations request, but you can receive less funding, and it's more collaboration between WSA and how it's organized. So I will let Jessica Cortez from LSA come over and explain her proposal. And then the Senate will vote to approve or deny before going to the House for their vote.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on though.
Can I just,
You need to shower,
okay.
unless you don't want to shower.
So, hi everyone, my name is Jessica Cortez. I am the president of the Latino Student Alliance, the largest Latino organization on WMU's campus. And today is a special day. Today is the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. Today we celebrate and honor all the Latino leaders in our community today and the past and the future generations. And so what better way than for WSA to collaborate with LSA and CAB? We already got an approval for the collaboration with CAB. So now we're here to present to WSA. So the name of the event is El Grito. But I did pass the slide, so you can go.
Oh, okay.
So for those of you who don't know what LSA is, it is a Latino organization on WMU's campus. Not specifically just for Latinos, but to anybody in general who's welcome to come. But we do offer leadership and professional development. We do a lot of community service. We were awarded Los Guerreros Award by a local nonprofit in Kalamazoo for our commitment to community service. And we are a resource for Latinx students at WMU. So El Grito will be on October 15th of this year. And that is the last day of Hispanic Heritage Month. And the time of the event will be from 6 to 9 p.m. The location will be at Miller Plaza, which is already confirmed by Smitty. So we have that to go. And the Richmond Center, our current staff advisor is working on getting that confirmed. And so the purpose of this event is to expose the various aspects of the Latinx culture. So we'll do that through food, through music, engagement, and dance performances. And we're also gonna bring, hopefully, the Multicultural Greek Council and the United Greek Council. And within those councils, there's different Latinx organizations, and they're gonna have an opportunity to showcase their organization as well. So you guys are gonna see all the aspects of the Latinx leaders at WMU. So this is our budget for the event that we're asking for from WSA is $3,000. So we're asking $500 for decorations, $150 for tables, $100 for chairs, $400 for a tent, porta potties $250, dance performance by El Concilio $300, a music performance by Alianza Cuatro $700, and event t-shirts for $600. And the marketing plan, so our flyer is almost done. We are making some final changes to it, but by September 20th, it will go, like we'll send it to CAB, make sure it's good on their part. If you guys accept the collaboration, you guys will also have some feedback on the flyer as well. By September 24th, it will go live on social media and Experience WMU. And then by September 27th, hopefully we can get those posters ordered. And then October 4th, hopefully that's all those flyers will be all over campus. COVID protocols, for food specifically, because we will be having that, we do have 6 individuals that will be focusing just on serving food. So 1 committee member would oversee that and 5 volunteers. Those individuals must be fully vaccinated and they must be wearing face masks and gloves at all times. And then we'll have 2 separate volunteers in charge of providing hand sanitizers for all those individuals who are in line for food. So how does this event benefit WSA and WMU, and why WSA should support this event? So WSA should support this event because it's an opportunity to expose WMU campus to the Latinx community, to our culture. And through this collaboration, Latinx students on campus will feel that support from WSA and its community. And one thing that we saw today is that we didn't see through our university social media a celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. But hopefully through this collaboration, it'll be an opportunity for students to see that our university does support, WSA supports us and our endeavors. Any questions? And I do have documentation of the agenda, who forms part of this committee, the budget, the COVID protocols, and invoices and quotes. So whoever wants to look at it. But any questions?
Besides simply funding, what other things are you working with WSA?
From WSA, we hope that you could possibly get us some volunteers to come out to help with setup, even throughout the event, and also to like clean up afterwards as well. And just your help with promotion, because you guys are the largest RSO on campus, so you guys have a lot of networks.
Good, any more questions, no more? All right, good, thank you so much. With that said, because this requires money, we will move into discussion first. So is there any discussion about this arrangement? Apparently not. So with no discussion,
So originally, it's kind of a long story. Originally, when I was on campaign trail, we really just talked about how Latinx students from WSA historically, they don't really have representation or representation on it. They don't really feel appropriate at university level, as you see today with a lot of coaching. I think it's really on WSA to step up and show up for all their workers, and especially in the States. One of the big five goals that WSA has this year at the executive level that I'll share with you all again at my official state of the WSA address is that we really want to embrace inclusivity. And the organization, I'll say, is consistently kind of going over the moon, really, with their thoughts and their policies, right? Like they are one of the biggest organizations we get recognized. So I'm personally like really, my heart is with this. I really love you.
So me being like a person of color, it's kind of the same way because I noticed that they don't get representation. Like how we get notified, WMU to say having Black History, but I don't see anything for the Latinos or anything. And they come to support us, like even at the yard show, they had an event that I had to come sit into, and it was beautiful, like extravagant. They did a great job at setting up. It was everything that I could imagine from any of us for planning an event. And they tried their hardest, and they still came out to support us after, like they came and supported the NPHC and watched our yard show, even though they had an event that morning. So it's like they're very supportive of everybody around us. So it's only right that we do it with them and try to support them if we can and show that representation. So yeah.
And I think I'll take it back to, just so you guys understand, I know a lot of you are new. We have the allocation process, which means that WSA just funds the event, and that we're kind of like our hands are off, like you do what you do, and we'll make sure the other code is very well in place. You're not spending too much money on saving like tablecloths and just like that, but a collaboration in turn allows us to be much more involved with the process and have such much bigger impact on like we can learn from this as much as they can learn from us, like it's kind of transactional in that way. Like that's the breakdown of the budget right there. $3,000. WSA has enough for that. Like that's all the financially and lots of money. So.
Point of information, $3,000 is the most amount of money in our account, but
well,
I have sort of a couple questions. I think it sounds like a really cool event. Support is definitely. As far as the budget goes, is this in addition to the money that they've already allocated, or is this their whole allocation?
we went through the allocation process.
Yes.
This is in addition, the two
Okay.
fundings are separate.
Okay, that's what I was thinking because I didn't see any mention of food up there.
Yeah,
So,
but also getting funding from CAP.
okay.
So,
I just was curious if that was the entire event or if that's just the portion that they're asking for.
I think with the food part, they're probably making their food since they're trying to show their culture. So most probably would be made in home. They will have like the outside versus the chamber.
any further questions? Any further discussion points? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. In favor, yeah. That's 3 of the 3, so all in favor, 3-0-0. This will happen. So,
Wait, we got Chris to introduce the slow clap at this moment.
What?
So typically, when something passes, what we do is when we open the door, we begin a slow clap. You know, gradually get faster. And that's the way it kind of creates some energy in the room. So when we just get clap here, which is great, we want to be excited and then we get really full. That's been going on since like 2007. Pretty good. Kind of cool, practical, right now. Or cool that, and then.
we have decided to support this event and fund it, so you'll get your 3,000. Moving on. All right, right on. Community expectations. So I kind of wanted to work out, I know there's only a few of us, a handful of us here, Senate-wide. What expectations we might have for each other, how we want the Senate to proceed, so I just want to open that up into the air. Does any member of the Senate right now have anything they would like to see throughout the course of the year, or how they'd like to see conduct-wise with other senators? I mean, we don't have to have any at all, we just wing it. All right. But could have said these. Because I can start. Right at documents. Documents are good. Documents help us remember. So I think I would like to see respect. Because that's a pretty like given one. That one's kind of like simple, right? Like that one's easy. So give me something. What do you want to see? Thank you.
Professionalism.
Professional. Are we in lower? Okay, cool. So we got professionalism. I would like to see definitely cooperation on like a decent amount of cooperation for those of us who are, we're here to represent students, and we don't have to do that alone. For those of us who are representing Greek life or other academic colleges, you do not have to represent them in this body by ourselves. So I think that's a good idea. Anything else? We can keep this short and sweet. We have a lot of other things to do today. We have a lot of confirmations to go through today. So we don't have to really dive deep into this. But I just want to see if any of the sitting Senate members right now, and we'll revisit this when we get more, really want something that is expected of us, expected of their fellow senators.
Honesty.
Honestly. Right? We're not politicians. Eh? I mean, we don't lie. We're honest. I got you. It's a good one.
Inclusivity.
Inclusivity. Thank you. It's hard to type like that.
Passion.
Passion?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's too far. Passion is good. I'm not going to sit here and lecture about passion, but passion's good. Let's do it. What else do we have? Go for the guess. There's only 3 of us, so don't be shy about going for the communication.
Open-mindedness.
Got you. Open. That's how you spell mindedness.
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Absolutely. Huh? Compassion. You do want to be compassionate of others.
Which means everything is keyword.
Participation.
Only C words.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Accountability.
Accountability. We are in fact accountable individuals in our normal lives, but especially here. We're accountable to thousands of students in the Hayworth College of Business, thousands of students in the engineering college. However many students are in the multicultural Greek Life Council. I don't know how many are there, how many comprise all
Or
that.
your students.
What's that?
You said organizations or students?
Students.
Students? 40 plus, 42 students?
Really?
Maybe less. That's ballpark.
Well, both. We'll take both parts here. But we are accountable to these people because we're dealing with actual money, right? Actual issues. Their money, it's their money and our money, but it's their money, the SAT, that we deal with. So accountability is a really good one. Any others? Like I said, this doesn't have to be very long, and we can make it longer once we have a bigger group, but just to start.
Participation.
Participation, thank you. Megan Higgins. Yep. That's a good one, participation. If you don't participate, you don't benefit anyway, right? And you really don't benefit yourself. But then again, I'm not gonna lecture on all this stuff, because, I'm not a teacher. But participation is a good one. We want to see participation, we want to see actual change. Anything else? Yeah. Fun? Yeah, definitely have fun. You can have fun in this. I mean, it can get stressful, but you can have fun, and that's good. It's good to have fun. Quirky? Oh. my goodness. No, yeah. Quirky, he can be quirky. I don't think I expect him. I don't think I'm expecting anyone to be quirky, but you can be quirky.
You're pretty quirky.
Optional. Optionally quirky is what you can be. I think that's a good amount for now. We'll continue this when the Senate group is larger. We only have an hour left and we have a lot of conversations as well. So, unless anyone has something really pressing to add, I'm going to switch to the beginning of our candid conversation. Confirmation. That's a word. There's a lot of C words, I'm mixing them up. So I decided to break it into two parts. There's one part because we have a lot. If we get through this first part, we can move on to more people. But it's in two parts because some people have to be on the 22nd. So with that said, we'll begin. I'll bring the president up to introduce our first and then next and then so on and so forth. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, before we begin, does anyone want Three Musketeers?
Where did it come from?
I'm gonna try and give it a toss. It's hard to toss in a suit, but or a shirt like this.
Who's gonna go during next?
Yeah, go ahead. All right, awesome.
Sweet. Hi, everybody. So traditionally and historically, what WSA has done, obviously, hopefully that you all know, is that the executive branch appoints each of our vice presidents. So there are 14 vice presidents outside of obviously myself, the executive vice president, and then finance and business relations. Because the finance and business relations vice president is not selected through an election, he does have to be confirmed. But just so you all know, he's going to be our first confirmation for today. I'm very excited. So Daniel, if you just want to come up and be questioned and interrogated.
Sure.
Sweet.
All right.
All right, ready for the interrogation.
Well, first, correct yourself. Why should you do this?
Why should I do this?
Yeah, why?
Because it's fun.
Or maybe I should. Why specifically should you be doing this?
Oh, should I be it? Because, well, I mean, I think that I bring a lot to the table. I mean, I've been a treasurer for R or so, and I was able to secure us a lot of funding even during COVID years. So I think that was a good, for me to understand how to manage money, especially during a tough time. So I ended up like increasing how much we actually had. So honestly, that's not too bad. We were still able to pull off events. And yeah, I think that That's pretty good.
Questions? Start with.
If you don't mind me asking, what exactly, do you know how much money did you secure as far as funding goes?
Yeah. So I was able to secure last year through college engineering. I think it was, I want to say it was $3,000 through college engineering, and then WSA was able to secure the $1,000 for operational and the $1,000 for the conference fund. And we ended up using those two, and then with the so we ended up using most of that money for all the events that we had, and and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it was 5,000.
Karen.
Did you mention what RSO it was?
Oh, sorry, Cylon. Yeah, the paper engineering RSO. That'd be good to know. Yeah, Alicia's cool for that one.
Yeah.
And then you talked about, you held events, what kind of events did you hold?
Yeah, so we a lot through the year we had some like meetings that we would have. Those were like general, like we would bring someone in or like go over some like topics of that, but we'd also have like employment or what's it called? Like we would have employers come in and talk about their company, and then that's a good spot for students to, you know, network with these people. And we were able to hold a few of those, and we're still going to be holding a lot this year. These are hopefully more interactive than through Zoom and all that stuff, but yeah, we're still able to hold that stuff. And we had like a webinar that was it was called the it was by Tappy, but we had like a little after party afterwards, so that we were able to, I mean, it wasn't an after party, but it was like kind of debriefing of what we just listened to that on that webinar, which honestly the webinar was really dry. So this was a good way to, you know, bring the fun back into it, try to, you know, have students still have that student interaction, right? Especially, I mean, all obviously being safe and all, but yeah, it was a lot of, when I talked to all the students, they said that was probably one of the best things that we did over last year. So yeah.
Any further questions? Hearing none, seeing none, unless you enter the hallways.
Right.
Go into discussion.
We've already been trying to do them as a slate, so 3 at a time. So-
Oh, you want 3 at a time?
Is that okay?
They'll have to still vote individually.
Okay.
When we do this slate, we bring them up all the time and we vote on them.
Okay. How's it done how's it a slate?
How's that a slate?
Yeah, if it's individually.
Right?
I just know.
Because of the Q&A instead of, because all the transition, do one at a time. That makes sense, it's gonna take a lot longer to go one at a time.
Yeah, then I would.
They do the questioning and the discussion.
Everyone gets the same question and then voting is separate, so.
Yeah.
So we can still do it that way.
Yeah, you can have 3 people come up in a row, and then we'll have to vote individually. So like, say, the next 3, Daniel, Bo, Charles, they go out there once we're done asking them questions. And then we're like, do you guys want Daniel? Yes, no? Okay. You guys want Bo? Yes, no? Do you want Charles? Yes, no?
Is that correct, Chris?
It's his meeting, but in that, again, historically, they're all up there at the same time. Give their spiel for why they want to do it, and just go down the line. Questions and answers, and they all go in the hallway, discussion on all candidates,
Got it.
and then vote individually. That way, it's not one.
Okay, so it's
But
up to you.
it's your meeting.
Yeah, go.
What do you want to do? Okay.
It's okay. We'll take, if you want to do 3 at a time, we'll do 3 at a time.
Perfect. Okay.
Let's get a Bo up here.
Yeah, so both are gonna come. Next, he's the vice president for academic affairs.
But again, if you're doing it that way, you would bring it, just instead of.
I am not a crook.
All right, why should you be vice president for academic affairs?
Why should I be?
Why you?
Me? So obviously, I'm in school, so I have a passion for education. I have a passion for academics. But as far as my qualifications go, I served as the student government president at Jackson College, much smaller than this, but it was still a lot. And I just think that academics are extremely important. I think that anybody that has any questions with academics or problems or concerns with their professors or anything along those lines, I feel like I would be a good person to come to if they need that. And as I'm working on now or trying to, is creating some kind of resource for people who have academic problems that they can use us as an organization or me as a member of this organization to come to us and, kind of like what we talked about in our cabinet meeting was to move up the line of the process that you have to follow if you have a grade dispute or if you have an attendance dispute or something like that, anything that's relating to academics. I listen, I take in all the information. I don't speak a lot in meetings, but when there is something that I am passionate about, I can be loud and I can be, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but I can be assertive if I need to. So I think that I'm a good fit for this position because a lot of people don't have that voice. A lot of people are intimidated in a situation like that where they aren't doing as well as they think they should be, or they feel like they've gotten the raw end of the deal in a class and on grading procedure. I feel like I can help people out.
Do we have any questions? Griffin?
What organizations you say you're from?
What?
What organizations you say you're from?
In the past,
He's actually going for college.
I went to Jackson College, used to be Jackson Community College, and they have a smaller student government. It was the SGA, Student Government Association. I served one semester as treasurer and one semester as president.
Any other questions? You're gonna say, oh, no, Aaron.
How are you liking Western?
Which aspect?
As a student, are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying
I don't mind it. I have at least one instructor that I'm unsure about as of right now, but I like the atmosphere. I like the people for the most part. It's not as country as Michigan State. I've been there, but everything's so spread out and green. But it's not as city as like U of M, and I'm not a big fan of the city. So I like it's kind of a good mix of there's a city aspect, but there's a lot of greenery and a lot of walking.
Any further questions? All right, hey, hearing none, seeing none, you may go to the question.
Thank you both. The next one, so Charles is not able to make it today, but on his behalf, I thought he talk to you about doing this? Okay, perfect. He did prepare a presentation for you all, and Aaron is going to present it. So, hi everyone, I'm Erin Westrick and I'm presenting for Charles. Charles pulled a third, so he likes to go by C3PO. His class standing is a fifth year. His college is Hayward College of Business. He's majoring in advertisement and promotion, leadership, business, and strategy. His minors are also nonprofit leadership with certification and general business. His hometown is Norton Shores, Michigan. His fun facts are he loves traveling and trying new foods. All right.
Yeah.
Well, he's a WSA veteran. He's been an active member of WSA since his first year, so that's 5 now. He's held numerous roles. For the last 2 years, he's been VP for IT. He's a member of the Student Grant Allocation. He's also around on the campus. He's a current and formal member of VCAB chair, he's an RA, faculty senate, WSA rep, ad club, CAB, and more. While at WMU, he's served in various capacities, and he feels as though due to his experience, he can bring a unique perspective and utilize his connections. He's student first. He wants to know, this is so hard to read the 5. Can I just read it as
Yeah.
I want to do what I can to support others and help them find their inner leader. Many times as students, we forget that we may have a voice and say on the quality of education we get. Being challenged in life is inevitable, but being defeated is optional. This is our college experience, and we should shape it in a way that we want. I have supported students with legislation, helped to plan last year's mental health week, helping with capital projects and more. I plan to continue this in this role. His position goals are to focus on students. Did he say what? He wants to be in
Community involvement.
Yeah.
Vice President for Community Involvement.
Yeah, he wants to focus on students and the community. He wants to hold numerous volunteer events per month. He wants to strengthen WSA relationships with Western Kalamazoo area and RSOs. He plans to do this with events, volunteering, collaborations, and supporting others based on their needs. And he wants a community involvement co-chair position who would assist with planning volunteer events with himself and his committee, assist with relationship building with RSOs and the Kalamazoo area. Are there any questions? I've known him like for all 5 years, so I think I can do this.
So far, so good.
Yeah. I'm reading.
Any questions? Really, no?
Yeah, he studied abroad in Italy and was still doing these positions. He's always put this first. He studied student first, but he's always put his RSO first. Very reliable, very trustworthy.
Not seeing or hearing any questions. Thank you so much. Entering into a sort of discussion period, I'd like to say that Charles has become a pretty good friend of mine as I've worked with him. I think he fit really well in this position. Does anyone else have a discussion for him?
Well, fun fact, he's actually my RA freshman year, so I've known him way back since then. I've known him really well. I think he always puts students first, and I think he's just someone who loves to engage himself around students, and I think he just really wants to make a difference on the Kalamazoo community as a whole. I think he's someone who's very passionate. Very, very cool.
Any other discussion points?
I would have to second what Griffin has said. I've known Charles since I've been at Western for 4 years, and he's been in numerous roles within WSA and his other organizations, and he just takes care of everybody. He's known throughout the community, WSA, WMU community. I honestly do not know how he does it. I presented with him a couple weeks ago at Fall Welcome, and his first year, he was a part of 20 organizations, which I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So he's very dedicated, and I know he's a great person to be in this role and help serve our community.
Ashley says Charles is a great guy and his passion for WSA makes him a very good driving force for WSA. Have we any other discussion points? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll enter into our first slate vote. So for those of you who have presented this already, please enter the hallway. Not allowed to hear our goings about. Were you talking to me? Oh, I just heard you say something and looked at Lydia. Yeah, I split the two. I see some cabinet members aren't here, so we probably could rearrange that. Okay, so we'll start off with Daniel Garrison for Finance and Business Relations discussion. I realized I entered into a discussion period with Charles. I'm going to do that. Discussion, but
I mean, based on what he told us earlier, I think he's very qualified because he mentioned how, it's really hard to manage an RSO during COVID. And I think, based on what he said, I think he did a very well job of managing funding for his RSO and like just how he attended those events. Because those attending, or I'm not attending, hosting those kind of events can be very pressuring in those kind of times. So I think he's very qualified mainly because of how well he handled that, given the
Speaking from the position of being in Thailand last year during COVID, he did a great job. And this year with the new treasurer, he's really stepped up and been helping her figure out her new role. He's like a genius when it comes to all of proposals and deadlines and everything. He knows all that stuff. So I have complete confidence that he can do this
Alex, you had your hand up for a minute.
I haven't known Daniel that long, but, from what I've seen, he's been doing a great job already. Anytime I've emailed him, he's been really reliable on email, so I think he would be a great, and managing an RSO, during a pandemic, I think, he'll do a great job in this position.
Thanks. As a former vice president of finance and business relations, I was involved in the selection process for my successor, and believe me, I would not pick someone I did not think was qualified for the position. So I have the utmost confidence in Daniel. I transitioned him over the summer. He seems very enthusiastic about it. He's had questions along the way that he's inquisitive. He's trying to learn how to improve. So I think he'll be an excellent member.
I love Daniel. He's like, this with me because with the 100th anniversary, I'm always having to email him, like, I need this order, and like just talk to him. And over the summer, like before we were really in action with WSA, he was so helpful. Like he just kept in contact. We were texting every day to make sure we could set up. He was always on time, even when he had to work. He was quick to make sure he was on the phone with me and Alexis. And I appreciated that because he still made time to come all the way in Canada for us to talk to him and do stuff. So I really think that he's like a great candidate. He's doing a good job at his job. I would think that he's already done this before, or he has been for 2 years. But sometimes he does have questions, which makes it even more awesome because he's always having room to grow. And I love that about people when they try to have room to grow. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move into a vote for Daniel Garrett for Vice President for Finance and Business Relations. All in favor, please raise your hand. Those opposed? Right, he's been confirmed with a vote of 2-0, 1 abstention. Moving on to Vice President for Academic Affairs, Bo Bilski. Discussion.
I'll definitely vote for him. If I could, because I think he's got experience, a very, very big experience on how to handle at least academic affairs. So, and while he was talking, I was actually pretty impressed by what he was able to do, and the fact that he's also dedicated to education. So, yeah, we don't see that much people that dedicated. So yeah, I would definitely take them.
Anyone else? Perfect.
I also kind of agree with what Daniel just said. I think his experience and his openness toward being dedicated to the students definitely going to carry a long journey toward this process. And I think that's made him very qualified for this position.
Any other discussion points? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move into vote for Bo Bilski for Vice President for Academic Affairs. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. We've got all of us voted in affirmation, so that's a vote of 3-0-0 with Bo. Moving on, Charles Poole III for Vice President for Community Involvement. Discussion, Daniel.
He's definitely the right fit because again, from what I've seen and from what Aaron said, I was gonna say Aaron, I was gonna say Aaron said, and from what I heard and what other people also said about him, I think it's really good. It's a really good fit of that, and really talking about community and how he's involved in so many things and how he's so student oriented. If I could again, I would definitely go for it.
Awesome. I realized we discussed him already because I forgot. So if you have more to say about him that wasn't said before, you can say it. If not, we're gonna move into the vote. Okay, cool. So for Charles Poole III for Vice President for Community Involvement, all in favor, please raise your hand. That is everyone. So there's a 3-0-0 for Charles. Please if someone could knock them back into the room. Oh, yeah, begin. Congratulations to all three of you as the proxy for Charles. Charles, yeah, I know, it got longer. You are all confirmed into your positions in the Senate. You still haven't confirmed in the House. All right, that said, we'll move on to our next individual that is,
Yeah, who's hosting the Zoom meeting right now?
for some reason, it says Megan's hosting. I'm not.
Interesting. So she's gonna have to make them not as.
Megan, do you know how to make me a host?
You can.
I'm not a host for some reason.
That's fun. It's all about.
It does. Megan, can you hear me? Okay,
Perfect, yeah, I guess without further notice, we're gonna have to skip over Ashley and Manuka because they're both online.
they're both online and I'm not the host. I can't make them panelists. So that's fun.
So I might deviate a little bit from the schedule.
We'll just move
Let's
down.
start with
We'll
Alex.
start with Alex Lawrence. We'll come back to them if we can get that sorted out. I don't know.
Hopefully your vice president will be first.
Yeah.
Alex.
Why should you have this position?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Lawrence. I'm a senior double majoring in political science, public policy, and public administration with a minor in communication. Happy Western Wednesday. This is going on my third year involved in WSA. I joined right away when I was a freshman here. I got involved in the political affairs committee along with my second year serving on the allocations commission with WSA. At my time at Western, I've been involved with We Vote, which We Vote is a nonpartisan organization focused on getting students registered to vote and hosting educational events to better institute democratic engagement at the university. Also, outside of Western, I've been involved in various voter engagement summits. I've served on a couple boards with college students around the state of Michigan, working to better civic engagement and how we all can come together to make sure that civic engagement is being instituted on campus. So I sat on a board with like maybe 10 others and then the Secretary of State as well, and we advised the Secretary of State and she's advised us. If I am confirmed into this position, I'm focusing on civility, partnering with We Talk this semester, this year, to further civility around and conversations or just civil dialogue. So coming to the table and being able to have civil conversations with people. At my time at Western, it's been a hard time to do that. It's been very hard for people from opposite ends of the political spectrum to come and come to the table and have like a meaningful conversation. So next week, I'm gonna just put in an event plug, Irshad Manji event. We're gonna start to see that actually take off with that kickoff event for the year. So hopefully to do more work with them. Over the summer, I've been working with VP Brenneman to plan these events, to plan the dinner with delegates that will take place in March. What else? I've been meeting with administrators like Dr. Bai, the Chief of Staff for the Board of Trustees, and working to get a meeting with Dr. Kritzman, the President for Faculty Senate, to look more into about instituting a university holiday on all federal and general election days. So that's kind of like my other big piece that I plan on doing this year. My goal is just to continue to further civic engagement, civility, democratic engagement in this role. So I know that was kind of a lot, but that's my spiel.
Any questions? Rick?
When you were on the allocations commission, what was the biggest challenge you faced?
I mean, on allocations, I don't know if there's a big challenge on allocations. At least I haven't. I make sure that I am, educated within the bylaws. So being able to read their budgets and make sure they are what they're requesting is lining up in the bylaws. That's a lot to take on because the bylaws are separate from WSA bylaws, our government chambers bylaws. So that was a little hard. So you had to be well versed in that. But I found it a rewarding experience to be able to sit and listen to all the amazing things and events that RSOs are putting on around campus, and just being able to help them put on those events.
Any other questions? Griffin again.
Okay, so what is something you want to bring to the table this year as far as civic engagement projects go?
Other than that, I'm working with, should have mentioned this earlier. I'm working with students around the state of Michigan. It's kind of starting off right now, but I've been working also with the VP for political, for their government relations at the MSU student government. And we are looking at building a advocacy network around our universities and colleges around the state. This would, be able to share legislation and ideas. Like last spring, our former VP for political affairs and her committee, along with other colleges, passed a legislation for to get rid of the tax on menstrual products for women. Things like that. I know one of the things we're planning to work on towards is advocating for better funding from our state government for higher education. So that's been, in the works. But I think that, other than just doing, my usual civic engagement things at Western, is really working to build that foundation for an advocacy network, so that is there for, students, generations to come, and to be able to advocate for students, for and on behalf of students to our state and federal government.
Any further questions? Hearing none, seeing none. Oh, shame. Oh, right, you don't have to go yet. Yeah, that's right. Please stay, unless you want to stay out. Moving on, we're gonna jump Michelle Herrera's out for the week.
Actually bumped up, Allison before.
Allison, go ahead.
Sorry. You're up. Yeah, Michelle and Brian will not be going today. It's so long because we're up here.
Why should you have this?
Hey, yeah, so, hi guys, I'm Allison. For those that don't know me, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm up for Chief Justice for WSA. So a little bit about me, I've actually been in WSA on and off of it, I'd say, since freshman year. So I was actually public relations chair my freshman year, and then I was Speaker of the Senate before it split into a ton of different pieces, all of my sophomore year. And then junior year, I just took a break because it became a lot all of a sudden. But now I'm back. So why I should be Chief Justice? I consider myself someone that's very good at listening, because I think the main role of Chief Justice, listening to all sides of stuff, trying to remove your own personal bias that you may have. Removing personal bias is something that I work really hard on constantly. Not to be like, I read books, but I do read a lot of books on how to identify your own personal bias and how to remove it, because I'm constantly trying to get better at that as someone that is becoming a lawyer in the future. But also as someone who's been in WSA for a while, I've really become aware of a lot of the things that go on, main issues that may come up with the Constitution. So I'm definitely prepared to handle those. I know this last year was a little bit rocky in terms of the Constitution, but I did keep very up to date on that in case something does come up again. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me and why I should be Chief Justice. Love to answer questions.
Any questions?
I'm a Virgo. I don't know. I think that makes me pretty qualified. Yes.
What's been your favorite thing about Western in your 4 years? Like, what is your most like memorable experience?
Oh, my most memorable experience. Actually through WSA, one time we had dinner with Dr. Montgomery, like at his house. And I thought it was so cool because I'm so big into architecture. So like, I love touring the house, which sounds sort of weird. We got to like see the bunker that was in it and everything, which is super cool. But I'd say that was probably like my favorite thing because also, sorry, yeah. That just like sort of stood out because that was also the first time I really had a close interaction with administration. So I thought it was really cool to like be able to talk to him about issues that we were having. Yeah, I don't know.
Aaron, go ahead.
Thanks. Can you tell us about a time where you had to mediate with another individual and how you handled it?
Yeah. So I am also outside of WSA, I'm in a business fraternity, Delta Sigma Phi. And through that, we definitely have a lot of conflicts come up, just consistently issues between brothers, whether, you know, they're having personal issues or as members of our executive board, they're having issues. So one of the times that stands out to me as pledge educator in the fraternity, I pretty consistently had to mediate between pledges and board and issues that they were having. There was a time where, you know, something wasn't made clear deadline wise and a pledge had issue with it. They were in Chicago, so like time zone got all screwed up. And so just had to manage that issue and sort of work through and understand, you know, where everyone was coming from on that and, you know, understand that the pledge had things come up. So that's why they weren't able to come and make sure that they were still able to be initiated. So just communicating between the two parties.
Further questions?
Could you comment on the current bylaws and constitution of WSA and either how navigable they are to students or how are they not?
Yes, so as far as, you know, available to students, I think they're pretty easily available to the website. That being said, I do think some of the language is purposefully fancy to the point where not all students may understand what exactly we're saying in the Constitution, which, you know, I think that's something that could be simplified in later drafts of it. Just it doesn't have to be this super fancy over the top language because our whole point is being accessible to students. But also, I mean, I've read both of them and I think it does lay out a lot of really specific details about specific things that may come up throughout the year. So I definitely appreciate it for that fact. Because I think it, you know, very clearly demonstrates this is this, so this happens, which I think is really good. I think a lot of work has been put into it on that. Because in my earlier years at WSA, there were some things that were sort of a gray area and that would cause issues.
Further questions? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you. With that, I have host privileges, so we can continue the list regularly. So Ashley would be next.
Yeah.
All right. Promoting the panelists. Give it a minute. Ashley, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you guys. I'm on a break from class, so I'm able to do this. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, hi. I'm Ashley Putnam Murray. I am currently running for the VP for Diversity and Inclusion. I'm a fourth year. My major is political science with a concentration in public law. My minor is in legal studies. If you were in WSA last year, you obviously would remember me as the former Chief Justice. I'm also was a part of Black Student Union. I still am. I was also a member of the Pre-Law Society. Yeah, what else can I say about myself? Well, one of the many reasons why I'm running for diversity and inclusion is because I truly believe that WSA needs to include more of our RSOs within our organization. And that's one of my main goals is to increase our relationships and make them more solidified with certain RSO groups. That way RSO groups feel like they can come and rely on us or come seek our help if we need to, or WSA can provide that support that they need. And also bringing more awareness to some of our more diverse RSOs here on campus for them to get some more appreciation and love. So that's kind of one of my main two goals of being in this position. So I'm ready to take any questions.
Thank you. Have we any questions? No questions? You must have really sold it, actually. You must have really-
I don't know. I mean, oh, and a fun fact, I love football and I love anime. So that's a fun fact. I know people were doing that.
Alicia,
I know you said that you wanted to like increase WSA's presence at different RSOs. How do you plan on reaching so many in just a semester or a year?
So it's impossible to do all, but I'm going to try to do as many as I can. I'm particularly going to look at the ones that like I have really not seen very much in WSA House of Representative meetings. But one of the ones that I am currently really focusing on is Black Student Union. Our relationship with them in the past has been very, very like limited to none. And I feel like that's one of a really big group that we could use to help utilize some of our position with other more diverse. So seeing if we have that type of a strong relationship with one of the bigger RSOs, maybe that can help trickle down to some of the smaller ones. But also looking at other smaller RSO groups and plan on trying to go to their meetings as much as I can. So that's kind of how I am.
any other questions? Griffin?
You said that in terms of involvement, WSA has not had a big enough presence. And you mentioned how that you have not been seeing a lot from the House. What more, if you could name some ideas, would you like to see from the WSA House?
So in that case, for some of those, they kind of, from what I've heard in the past, is some of them felt like the only reason why WSA ever really comes around is because, they are looking for an election during the election year when president and vice president are up. So they don't really want to come to our House representative meetings or have anyone to be in the Senate to try to get more for there. And also a lot of them don't know that with WSA's House of Representatives, that's the easy way of getting funding. And so I want to help make them more aware of that, because some people just assume that this is kind of just you can either choose to be in it or not, which is technically true. But if more of those smaller RSOs knew that there was room for funding or, gain some support from us, that can help kind of increase more of our House of Representative group, as well as our relationship within the RSO community as not just being an organization that comes around during election time.
Ashley?
It's not really a question, it's more a piggyback, but I was gonna say that that's a good thing because I had an alpha text me. Because they're all looking like all the NPHC is now looking for their funding. And they're like, okay, how do we get our funding? They don't know how. Like a lot of people don't realize we have to build relationships with each other. So I had to tell them like, you're not gonna, like, we're gonna look at you because you don't try to reach out to us. You guys only try to reach out to us when you guys want the money. And at the same time, when we have events, I don't really see a lot of other RSOs trying to come to our events or promote our events. Like it's both of us. Like we all need to work together. We're all students. We need to do it together and try to promote each other. It shouldn't be one-sided. It should be everybody. And it shouldn't be like people feeling out of the loop where we're all college students getting the same tuition or paying more than others because some people are higher classes. We just gotta work together. And it's kind of weird because this is my first year, so I didn't really know what to say. I don't know how to like talk about allocations. I don't know how to do anything. So I'm like, go to the House meetings. That's how you learn everything. Like that's the easiest way to learn everything for WSA is just telling people try to go to House meetings or try to be a part of the Senate. Like we have to try to get more RSOs and other people into our groups to have them understand and we can all be connected. Campus will move a lot like smoother for all of us and people won't have so much animosity towards each other because right now with this 100th anniversary stuff, it's kind of hard for me to see some of the boards that I want to come out to support us because they want RSVP, because they have some type of animosity because of years ago. Well, we're new people, and I have to keep telling people that, like, my president, vice president is not who you thought somebody else might have been. They're different. They're trying to have everybody collaborative. They're trying to be there for everybody. Like, the E-board here, we're trying. We're not the past E-board. If people don't get that, because they still have the stigma in their head that WSA doesn't like them. It's like, that's how, when I came to campus last year, that was the idea that people kept telling me. But being here, I don't feel that. I feel like, okay, they care about me. They care about the students here. We're trying to do stuff for everybody to get included. But the stigma that everybody has in their head is the past, like people. And that's not what we are. So we need to just try to do better.
You make good points. I do want to remind everyone that this is a question for Ashley. Like asking Ashley questions.
I'm
But
just waiting for somebody to say that because I've been wanting to say that for so long. Because everybody's doing a great job and I don't want nobody to have other people that see the stigma of the past talk about us. So.
we all appreciate that sentiment and agree. Any other questions for Ashley? I think someone was in the chat. Hi, Manuka. Good to see you. Okay, with no more questions, those of you who've gone, please enter into the waiting room or the hallway. I will.
Oh, it's all Aiden.
Yeah.
You put someone in a waiting room. Not all. Yeah. All right. So starting at the top, Alex Lawrence for Vice President for Political Affairs. What do we want to discuss?
Well, I think Alex is very qualified. I'm not saying this because I'm friends with him. I'm saying this because.
Well, now I don't believe
I think he's very qualified because how much experience he has, not only with the student body, but outside of WSA with the things he mentioned, like civic engagement, getting involved out in the political world. He studies political science. And I think that's also another very good contributor toward him being a WSA in general, but also being the vice president of political affairs, because political affairs also consists of stuff like democratic engagement, civic engagement, and sharing this is all about voter turnout, democratic engagement. So I think overall, and also I just want to say, when I first got elected to WSA, he was the first person to reach out to me. And I think out of anyone in WSA, he has the most knowledge about WSA. And he also has just so much knowledge about campus. And I think that immeasurable knowledge he has, I think that makes him very qualified.
Any other discussion points? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go into a vote for Alex Lawrence for Vice President of Political Affairs. All in favor, please raise your hand. That's all three of you. So he is now our vice president. Well, on our side is our vice president.
It's the Senate.
It's the Senate. Wasn't it just the Senate who did confirmations?
Yes, we just wanted to vote.
Okay, moving on to Allison Anchor for Chief Justice. Any discussion points? Discussion point or just a thumbs up?
Well, I think what she talked about earlier about having to mediate that situation is that I think you know, as someone who's also studying law and who wants to become an attorney, I think mediation is very important no matter what position you're in law, whether you want to be a lawyer or want to be a judge. I think it's very important to listen to both sides. Because if you are just closed-minded, then you're not going to know what the other parties are thinking. That's very important. Especially, you know, when it comes to the Supreme Court, the justices of the Supreme Court usually have to have listen to both parties in order to make some sort of opinion. So I think Allison, I think that story really was the icing on the cake for her. So I think she's very qualified.
Thank you. Any other discussion points?
Perfect, and to steal one line from Griffin, not just because I appointed her, but just some backstory for you all. I think my freshman year, yeah, that was my freshman year, Allison's freshman year as well. I saw Allison as the face of WSA. Like, aside from the president, aside from all of that, like Allison was the person who loved the organization with her whole heart, was the biggest advocate for it, tried to bring everybody into it. At the time, I saw student government as the scariest place on this campus. I was like, hell no, not gonna happen. And so as I eventually became involved in student government, I have also just Bureau Association, both being in business college, I saw her kind of be a little bit more. And then in the campaign process, being able to understand her story and why, why she kind of pulled back from the organization and the unfortunate circumstances surrounding that. For her to come out here and like really truly pour her heart back into this, not knowing what's going to happen, not really fully necessarily trusting the process, like seeing that grow back in like her, I just love seeing that sort of passion. And I know she's going to be so great for the role this summer. She's already been a really great point person for interpreting the Constitution, for the bylaws and suggesting changes and some of the processes and being like, wait, this is how we did it a few years ago. Why did it go away? How can we either re-implement it, rework it, or like, oh yeah, so the first person I asked to be the Chief Justice is the only person I really wanted to consider to be Chief Justice.
I'm gonna cut discussion now for time's sake. So we'll move right into the vote. All of those in favor of Allison Anker for Chief Justice, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Raise your hand. She is our Chief Justice by 201 abstention. Now for Ashley Putnam-Murray for our Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion. Discuss. Hearing none, seeing none, I'm sure she is nothing to discuss, right? I think she'd be a good one.
I might just want to say, I think Ashley,
It is Ashley.
I think she's very passionate about inclusivity and diversity, and seeing how a university is founded on those principles. I think she do a very good job in this position because Ashley is someone who I believe wants to make a difference as far as diversity and inclusivity. I think she wants to. I think what her goals are is to make sure everyone's included in it. Not just WSA, but the university stands on those promises of the founding principles. So I think Ashley is very qualified.
Awesome. One thing I want to note is Megan's button wasn't working, so that was 300 for Allison. All right, any other discussion points?
I just want a second of the action.
Right on.
Yeah, I'll take 2 seconds. 1 second? Okay.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
I thought you meant 2 seconds. You were
No.
seconding 2 seconds. And I was like,
Got
oh.
it.
I'll third
Got
that.
it. Yeah, right. So I just wanted to say that like one of my biggest visions for the org this year is that WSA expects everybody to show up for us, but we don't show up for other people. And she really takes that to the next level and says, no, we will start showing up for other people. We're going to dedicate to make sure we have people going not just to the affinity organizations, but to some of our sister and brother organizations as well. I know this year, for one person in a long time, we have a dedicated CAB representative. We have a dedicated person that's going to go to different RSOs. And it's a really unique take to the, creative problem creation. So seeing Ashley step up that way is appreciated.
With that, again, I'm going to cut off discussion for time, so we're going to move right into voting. Thank you, and everyone who spoke. All those in favor for Ashley Putnam-Murray for Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion, please raise your hand. That's 3 for 3. She is now. I will bring. Oh wait, begin. You are now, well, for the Senate, that is, you are now in your positions. With that said, we have about 6 minutes left. We probably go through one more confirmation if we are very quick. If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn and table everything for next meeting. But that is up to the Senate. No, I know, no, I meant like, I thought you were saying, yes, I'll take that from you, and I'm like, oh, no, I can't do that, sorry. So the senator will have to do such a thing.
I make the motion that we adjourn.
All right, do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Any opposition? Literally just enough people to do all that. So no opposition. All right, we are adjourning at 5:54 PM. Thank you all for joining me on this fun.
I know, I just know you were, because you told us it's right
And
there.
thank you all who joined us. You are free to leave.
Also, I hate to flip you all off, but the house.
The house needs to come in. Everyone get out of here. Except for the.
Not you kicking people out, talking about the house is coming in.